All right. Let me do a quick mic check. I got to speak through my phone because my headset crashed. All right. Let me do a quick mic check. I got to speak through my phone because my headset. All right. It ain't bad. It's bad, but it ain't bad. Hey, no, come over here. Okay. Yeah. So Nick Fuentes did say that. All right. So I'm gonna play that in a minute. I'm gonna deal with the news and updates first. We got some stuff here for you, and plus everybody not here. I want folks to hear it because it's he gonna say some slick white supremacist stuff in between. You dig? But the conclusion is the conclusion. Like there's no way to go around it. When you guys look at the Willie Lynch letter, okay. Matter of fact, let me pull this one up. Now, of course, the Willie Lynch letter is not historically true, right? But the process is though. Let's see if we can pull it up. All right. So this is now. Some of us had already concluded this. I had a native Indian friend, right? He was really he was really light, looked white. Maybe he was a $5 Indian, maybe he wasn't. But even he concluded, he concluded 10 years ago that we were when it comes to the black people on Earth, we were the more superior, for the same reasons why Nick said it, right? So I don't want to blow it. I want to just play it and read it. So let me first do Willie Lynch. So you guys are familiar with Hitler, right? Hitler eugenics program where he tried to create the superior white, blue eyes, blonde hair. So in Hitler's mind, that was the superior white. Well, right here in America and only America with plantations, see the rest of the blacks they were being colonized. They were not being sold and bred and buck broken. So we had an entire different experience than every other black that was colonized or even part of the transatlantic slave trade. Eat that right there. Eat that. Okay. So so even like I said, my boy Brand, really white, he's Native American, cooked on trash, lived on it, everything. He's in Oklahoma, even works for a certain company that they do, right? Willie Lynch letter. Okay, here we go. Letter. FSK. Good morning, everybody. All right. So I want to read it. It used to be free. I was supposed to say, come over and sit down. You're in the way. All right. So this is how silly I look. So I got the headset to hear myself. I got the phone to speak into. So you dig? I look crazy. Yes. Okay. All right. Give me the banana. All right. So I want to just find where I can read it. I'm not sure if it's on Wikipedia or not, but this is important before I continue. All right. It'll buy me some time so folks can. It's over here somewhere. It's one of these for sure. Got it. All right. Let's see. Is this it right here? See, so it's definitely a forgery. All right, so that's not gonna be it. This might, this. Oh. If you guys found it, put the link in the. I wasn't even prepared to read this or reference this. I feel like it's important. Okay. All right. So this might be it. Okay. This is it. Let me delete that. Delete that. Okay. So watch this. Let me go here. Okay, all right. So let's start right here. It is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. Right? They must love, respect, and trust only us. I want to get to the making of a slave part. But it was all right. I might have passed it. Let me just do this. Get right to it. Shit. That's not in there. Shit. Strong. So this might be it over here. This might be it. All right. Well, you know what? I'm just going to just tell you what it is because I can't. I'm freestyle. I didn't expect this to be part of the show. But anyway, it was about mixing. I'm sorry. It was about practicing eugenics amongst those who they say were slaves, right? Us in America. So they were practicing eugenics. They was mixing the. They was procreating with the strong slaves versus the weak. So they had a strong male slaves. They had procreate with strong women slaves over and over and over. And so now, what does that do? The weak slaves or the even medium slaves, they did not procreate, right? They just lived, worked, and died off. So they were breeding the like the strongest specimen of us. So just to, lack of words, they were breeding the ultimate strong FBA, and they were going to breed them, and they were only going to have them work the plantations, have them build America, but the weaker ones they didn't procreate, and they just died off. So they were left with just superhuman FBAs. All right, so again, that was the conclusion. My boy Brand, light-skinned Native American, way like 10, 12 years ago. Matter of fact, he brought it to my idea. We were live. We're not live at this point. We're just talking on free conference calls, and I will upload those to YouTube. So, and I got it. I got that video. I got that video uploaded. One of my channels, definitely where he broke that down. But even he understood that white people in this country had practiced eugenics, trying to create the strongest FBA possible to build the country. So as a result, we became dominant, strong, dominant, smart. So like this, and that's what people know that we don't know. That's what a lot of blacks know, a lot of Latinos know, a lot of Asians know. Like they know that America kind of like cheated. They just bred the strongest with the strongest. So they have a different type of people living with them. We're not just regular folks. All right, so that's a fact. Like no other people were bred like us. And you can call that select. Sometimes it's dirty. You can call that selective breeding. They do it with horses to get the fastest horse, the fastest this, the strongest that. With insects, they do it. You dig with vegetables and fruit, they do it. All right, so no, that's not science fiction. That's actually what happened. It tells me you don't read. Momo, go back over here. That's not science fiction. I actually read that. The book is science fiction, but the process is not. You guys just, you guys would rather believe you can travel without a license than some real history. Anyway, so let the chat build up a little bit, and we're going to go here. So this is a guy that got to be deported, and this is what happened. I'm going to stop it because it's playing music, but this guy did not want to go back to his country, so this went pretty viral. All right. JJ Mars, V4, let get it, Tashi D. Yeah, so, but Hitler did the same thing, so Golden Brown, that's science fiction as well. Eugenics is a real thing, brother. I don't know what planet that you do your studies on, but eugenics is a real thing, and people try to create the superhuman, super horse, super bug, super virus, super fruit, super food. You guys have heard of superfoods. Boxing, Logic, United. That's not wise, sir. All right. Yeah. So we'll chop it up. We'll chop it up. We'll chop it up. And maybe I'm tainted, right? It's because I'm going off back, some research 10 years ago. Like maybe science caught up and debunked that BS. But at least that's what people entertain. But I will have a chance where you folks can call in and you can cook me. Like, yo, I'm biased. That is some goddamn pseudoscience from the white man. And when we were looking into that, there was no chat GPT and none of that stuff. All right. So anyway, this is what you folks. All right. So Boxing Logics United. I mean, you might could teach me something, bro. You want to call? You want the call-in number? Let me give it to you. Because like I said, I'm going off some stuff. 10, 12. I didn't ever look into this again, by the way. Like, just to give myself a disclaimer, I never looked into this after we talked about it 10, 12 years ago. It ain't like my doctrine and shit. I just first time saying it since then. So it's a good chance I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'll never say it again. But you got to prove, okay, so you got to, let's see. Yeah, I'm a type of person where if I'm wrong, I don't get emotional. I'm just never wrong twice. So I never say I'm never wrong. I'm just never wrong twice. Because once I'm debunked, I stop saying it. I correct myself before you guys. I say, hey, I was wrong about that. Cause I don't want to miseducate. I say I'm wrong about that, and then I will, move forward with more accurate information. Peace, Claude. But here, let me give the number to Boxing Logic. I'm a boxing fan too. So, matter of fact, my channel, Unbiased Sports, used to be the Boxing Wizard. I changed the name to Unbiased Sports, and then it became Unbiased Ron, and now this new channel is FBA News Updates. All right, so here's Boxing Logic. You just want to call in real fast. Don't ask questions. Okay, now listen, Boxing. Here's the rules over here, brother. First of all, we don't need your views, likes, subscription, nothing. All right. I don't mind you contesting what I gotta say and challenge me. We welcome that. But what I don't do, see, I'm making myself vulnerable. I'm saying I could be wrong. I'm saying call in. You don't have to call in, but you got to call in because you're in a chat saying I'm wrong over and over and over and over. Okay, so you got to call in, or I got to dismiss you, brother. But now you're trolling. I would never do that to my chat. If I say they're wrong, I'll say it again like you're doing, but I won't keep saying it. And if they give the phone number, I'll call in. But I'm giving you an opportunity to prove me wrong. I won't even debate you. As long as you're saying some information that's factual, you could just prove me wrong and hang up and go right back to the chat. So I'm not trying to embarrass you. You can correct me in front of everybody, and I can use myself as an example. Like there's nothing wrong with being corrected and moving on, accepting the correction and moving on. What you can't do is keep saying I'm wrong and don't show in the chat. I mean, put an article in the chat at least. I can respect that. Tell me where to Google, where it's debunked. All right. Anyway, this is what you guys want to believe, though.
I don't go anywhere without this. This is my traffic book right here.
Okay. You rather listen to a meth head with dark black lips and think you can do this right here.
And if you read down below, public servant officer, it pretty much says to him, when a cop pulls me over, you're losing potato chip. But when a cop pulls me over,
if you don't
the first thing I do is I ask him, what's your emergency and how may I assist you?
No. I'm not going to kick him out. I'm going to debunk myself first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into ChatGPT and ask, was that true? That process true? And if it's not true, I won't kick him out. And I'll just give him his flowers and say, that process was wrong. I'll do that. But if he's wrong, I'm kicking him out.
And he's going to ask for my driver's license and insurance.
Because I remember kind of reading up on it recently, very vaguely. And I think that has some like truth and falsehood in there, I believe. Now I'm trying to recollect.
Or whatever. And I said, well, before we go there, I need you to fill this out. And I take that sheet of paper out of there and hand it to him. Before we can go any further, you need to fill this out. Once he reads this, it already puts him on notice that I'm not.
Okay, so he said when a police officer pulls him over, he's going to give them that paper he made at Staples and have a police officer fill this out. This is your sovereign citizen, Moorish science, sovereign citizen leaders right here, the white man. And white supremacy rules your religion and your groups and organizations.
Not playing games with them. And then you open up the book.
Look, see, he put in there.
And that is so poignant. And here's the case.
And yeah, look, what is this? What's like? So he made a mistake, a typo, and he just blacked it out with his pen. But he want to sell this to more sovereign citizens and white sovereign citizens for $500. This book right here, where he had to scratch out a typo.
One against Harris County. Harris County, I always take my name out because I'm not going to give my name until you can give me what's called, and police always call it, it's RAS. What?
You know, look how.
What's your RAS?
Look how black his mouth is. All right, so now let me go further. Yeah. So boxing don't got to call in. I'm gonna debunk myself. I changed my mind. Okay, I want to go here real fast. Yeah, I'm gonna debunk myself or see if there's any truth to that. So I want you guys to see the Jamaican mindset. This ain't every last one of them, but it's enough of them, and it's a lot of them who come over here. All right, this is how they think when it comes to like our fights, our struggles, our protests, boycotts. Listen.
What y'all could do?
The way how African Americans prioritize blackness isn't necessarily the same way in which an immigrant would prioritize their blackness. So, you know how African Americans will say, oh, black writer, black creator, black artist, black lawyer, black doctor, black woman in STEM. No, when we come to this country, it's immigrant or nationality, maybe our careers next, and then whatever else comes after that. So immigrant, Jamaican, marketer, whatever else comes after that. The issue that you're having is we don't see ourselves as one of you. And
okay, so you said that they see their immigration status first. They see their career. No, they see their immigration first. They see their ethnicity second, Jamaican. They see their career third. They don't have a spot for this blackness, this black power, we all black type shit. So they're saying it themselves. And then when we just simply repeat what they said, you guys say we're division, we're divisive, we're causing division. It's like, so nothing she said is reflective of her mindset. I get it. Giving them passes, but we don't. Not the lineage, not FBA. We don't give them passes. We take them by their words. And you think she lying? Remember, she said your problem is that we don't see ourselves as one of you. We don't fight black causes. One more time, because I'm gonna give you a modern day example of another Jamaican saying the same thing, but he is way more notable and way more influential. Watch this.
the will say, oh, in which an immigrant. The way
Somebody a touch you. You know, things
One more
say,
time.
you know, oh, I'm not have the right temperature. I'm hungry. What y'all could do?
the way how African Americans prioritize blackness isn't necessarily the same way in which an immigrant would prioritize their blackness. So, you know how African Americans will say, oh, black writer, black creator, black artist, black lawyer, black doctor, black woman in STEM. No, when we come to this country, it's immigrant or nationality, maybe our careers next, and then whatever else comes after that. So immigrant, Jamaican, marketer, whatever else comes after that.
Okay, she never said black. So how is she black? Right? So it goes back to that. Oh, you trying to say that they ain't black? They are saying they're not black. And we're disagreeing because black is not a color, it's an experience. Because some of us are light as snow and some of us are dark as midnight. All right? It's an experience, not about color.
The issue that you're having is we don't see ourselves as one of you.
Okay, so we don't see ourselves as one of you. All right, so now I'm going to go to this guy. So, academics. So remember, they said they don't fight black causes, they don't join black nothing. It's all about immigration, right? So now immigration is saying you got to get the hell out the country. And now they want us to march and protest. Like, nah, remember, you said that's not the case. So caller, give me 1 second to play the last video. I'm just put your name. I think this is boxing. I'm just putting your name as boxing. Let me just play this last clip, and then I'll let you go in. All right, hold on.
Yo, chat. Yo, I ain't even gonna lie to you. I'm not even into no protesting shit. Fuck all that Black Lives Matter shit, nigga. But I would definitely show up there to.
I told you. So he'll show up there to screw white women. This is DJ Academics, nationally known figure, amongst the black circles, both, FBA, all black circles. And he said, I ain't gonna lie, I'm not with the protest. He said exactly what that Jamaican lady said, and both of them are Jamaican. Is this boxing?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so now what was, correct me, what was incorrect and correct, if anything that I said?
What's incorrect is it's pseudoscience, though. It definitely.
Which part, if I can ask?
Excuse me?
Which part is pseudoscience?
The fact that our entire, shall I say, I hate the word ethnicity, because that comes from the word heathen, but the fact that our entire sub-nation, which is Black Americans, freedmen, whatever, got this way because of eugenics.
Is there any truth to it, or you think the whole thing is bull?
Is there any truth to it? Very, 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 very minimum. But it's not why we are superior. And I suggest that we don't even say that about ourselves.
Okay.
Because it's not healthy for us. We don't need anything to fuel our ego. We need to
but what if it's true, though? But what if it's true? Should we, okay. Stop.
Okay.
Now you're talking about
if it's true, show me the books where this is. I have a book on the slave farms in South Carolina.
Can you see my screen? You see my screen?
I see the screen that says the lineage.
Okay. No. It's gonna be a little delayed because you called in. I should set the link.
Well, hold on. Let me push it forward. Okay.
Yeah. See my screen?
Wolf Marcus Garvey.
No, not Marcus Garvey. No, that's Dr. Umar. So on the left side of my screen is DJ Academics. He was doing a review of Umar last, viral moment of needing money. But the right side is the research to what I said about eugenics.
I don't know why the screen is just showing me. I'm calling you from YouTube, so I'm looking from that screen. I don't know if this is a screen on another platform.
So let me just read this, Ray. Let me read this, because I ain't gonna lie, I'm vulnerable because I research tool AI is like on another level, and this was not around 10, 12 years ago. So, and I never looked, when we talked about it, I never did a follow-up until you just talked about it. When you challenged me, I'm like, you know what,
cool.
Shit. Wait, just hold on. Wait, just hold on. I'm just giving back.
You want me to come and answer, you won't let me finish.
Right. But you still called. Okay, you go. All right, so you go. I'll stop. Go ahead.
Okay. Here's the thing. Eugenics is real. It is definitely a real thing. But you have positive eugenics and you have negative eugenics, though, at the same time. Okay? Was some of that being done to us? Yes, but it was just, I would say, to a small number of us. It wasn't why we, if Nick Fuentes is saying we're a superior race, first of all, I wouldn't eat into that, because I believe he would just be playing into this whole thing to create more, of course, animosity between the groups. That's all he was. That's the only reason he. I
don't even think he cares. To be honest, I don't think Donald Trump or any conservatives know anything about. I think liberals kind of know what's going on in black communities. I think conservatives are 100% clueless. No, sir, you're wrong. All of them are paying. They pay attention to us and study us longer than we study them. That's pseudoscience.
No. Listen to what I said.
Yeah, you just saying stuff. So okay, so can you give me a poll on that?
Sir, were we the ones slaves? Don't you pay attention to your property? Think about it, sir.
We're not their property, though. See, you sound like the guy from yesterday. Let me ask you this, so I can see your mentality. Do you believe that the 14th Amendment?
You haven't let me finish let me finish anything to get my mentality, sir. All right, go ahead.
You keep asking me questions.
14th Amendment.
Right. Do you think that's a good thing for us or bad? for freedmen FBAs.
What was?
The 14th Amendment.
Is it a good thing for us? Yeah, the 14th Amendment was to correct the 13th Amendment Dred Scott case.
The 13th Amendment had nothing to do with Dred Scott case.
Yes, it did, sir.
No, it didn't.
That's
It was the
what
14th Amendment. No, it was the 14th Amendment, not the 13th.
The 13th Amendment was over the Dred Scott, sir.
No, it had nothing to do with that. Matter of fact, let me ask you what the Dred Scott case was about. I don't think you know. Tell me, in just short words, just if you could sum it up. What was the Dred Scott case about? Because this is my shit. From the 1800s to 1900s.
It was about Dred Scott. And so
what about
he was not going to be able to become an American citizen.
No.
He was not. He was a son
bro.
of a slave.
No.
He was a son of a slave. He was not be able to go ahead and get the privileges of those who became free. That's what it was about. The 14th
no, that's false. Wait. Okay, you just said free. Okay, just hold on. We're just talking. You didn't show me shit. You asked me to show you something. So that means we're both just talking. I'm going to correct you on this. See, you call in, you got to know who you're talking to. This is my shit. I study this. Okay, wait, hold on. You just said what you said.
I got my Constitution beside me. I'm going to grab it.
Okay, cool. I got you, but I'm going to finish, though. The Dred Scott case was what year? Do you know? Okay, so you don't know. Okay, cool. I know. That's what most people do when they call in. They just listen because they don't really have as much information they thought they had. And watch this. The Dred Scott case had nothing to do with being an American citizen. It had everything to do with being...
eugenics.
We were talking about eugenics. Wait. Okay. Something else? Now I'm going to mute you. See, they do this because you're going to rap. You're muted now. Matter of fact, I don't need you here anymore. Goodbye. Family, this is what they do. They call in, and anybody want the phone number, call in, right? Anybody can get it today. We got 102 people in the chat. You want the phone number, call in. I let him go to talk. He kept asking me questions. See, I don't need to ask questions to make a point. He has no idea about the Dred Scott case. It had nothing to do with American citizens, or being American citizens. Hey, we had free blacks that were not American citizens. You ever heard of Martin? Dr. Umar talks about this one guy a lot. Martin Robinson Delaney. He was a free black, but he was not an American citizen. All right. So when you call in, get your facts straight. Now, he started to backtrack when it came to eugenics. So we're going to read it. Yes, there is historical truth to the claim that some American slaveholders practiced selective breeding, essentially an early crude form of eugenics to produce stronger, more profitable enslaved laborers. While it wasn't officially called eugenics, obviously, at the time the term was coined. Put your feet down. At the time, the term was coined. It wasn't coined until the late 19th century. The principle of breeding humans like livestock was practiced and justified in slave economies, particularly in the American South. Okay. Yeah, Confederates. So wait, Nick Fuentes was on to something, and myself. It says, was selective breeding of slaves real? Yes. In certain regions, especially after the transatlantic slave trade was banned in 1808, once the international slave trade was outlawed, the American South relied on more domestic slave breeding to maintain and grow the enslaved population. This only happened here. When it says American South, it's not talking about South America, North America, Central America. It's talking about the southern states of the United States of America. So we're not going to get it confused. But it was practiced because slavery ended, but they wanted to produce more slaves. It was too risky to go out there and find some. It was huge penalties, and death was one of those things, those penalties. If you got caught, like purchasing more blacks from Africa, from the African coon slave sellers and slave raiders. Let's keep reading. Enslaved women were often forced to reproduce, and some slaveholders intentionally paired stronger or more fertile individuals to increase the productivity of their enslaved labor force. So yes, we are the strongest blacks in the world. This ain't happening to no other blacks but us. We're the smartest, we're the fastest, we're the best. Because this practice produced that. It's not that we were born like that. We were produced, we were bred that way. Like we could, again, you can breed like certain wolves to have a certain stock of wool that's just strong, don't have like flaws and defects like the average wolf will have. You can do it with lions. And I mentioned fruit earlier, vegetables, insects, bugs. When I say bugs, I'm talking about bacteria and viruses. Okay, let's go on. Documented evidence of slave breeding. First person testimonies. Former slaves interviewing during the WPA slave narrative 1930s often spoke about being forced to breed or being separated from partners to mate with others. Here's a quote. "We were bred like cattle," said several interviewees in those records. You see, so people call in here and they're unfamiliar with the show and on the fly they get cooked. Okay, so now plantation records. Some slaveholders kept ledgers detailing, so this is now slaveholders, no longer the enslaved FBA. So it says, some slaveholders kept ledgers detailing the productivity, health, and reproductive capacity of enslaved women, tracking pregnancies and births like livestock. Traits they look for: physical strength, especially for men, fertility and endurance, especially for women, obedience or docility, resistance to disease or climate. Yeah. It sounds like it. Sounds like Willie Lynch to me. The economics behind it. Well, enslaved people were extremely valuable assets in the Upper South, where tobacco agriculture was declining. States like Virginia and Maryland became slave breeding centers and sold enslaved people to the Deep South, e.g., Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana. Slave traders and owners profited not only from labor, but the sale of stock bred on their properties. So you can just imagine that when they're trying to sell us and they bred these kids, right? And now they're like 19, 18, 20, you know they're going to brag about, hey, these folks come from this man was strong, and this woman was very fertile, and she could have kids. You know, that's how they sold us, you know, on the slave block. So it looks like it is true. There's a lot of truth to it, and dude was lying to us. So turns out my boy Brand from back in the day, Native American, was right. He's the first one to put that idea in my head, and it just made sense to me. Again, we didn't have AI or ChatGPT, or I don't even think Wiki was around like that, or that credible at that time. So I think it was like starting out new or whatever. But it had some flaws to it. So we really it just made sense to us. And then you're going to hit Nick Fuentes, double down. But you heard DJ Coon Demics. He said, DJ Tether Demics, he said he ain't trying to go to no protest, no black protest. No, and again, when they say Black Lives Matter, family, they're not focusing on just that little organization of 3 women. They're like Tariq Nasheed said, when they say Black Lives Matter, they're talking about black people, FBAs, okay, and even probably some tethers. All right. So, I think we're very clear. Let me go back into the chat in case we got somebody else. Got dropped you because you didn't. I just debunked you, dude. I just debunked you. All right, you were done. You said the Dred Scott case had everything to do with being an American citizen. That was stupid. We didn't become American citizens until 1868, the 14th Amendment, and the Dred Scott case had nothing to do with the 13th Amendment. Stupid. We were free blacks. You had Alexander Cromwell. You had Paul Cuff. You had William Biden. You had a bunch of Richard Allen. You had a bunch of people who were free, but they didn't have civil rights, constitutional rights. All right? So get that straight. Big Jasper had best talk. Peace, FBA Vin. Let me get him a lineage wrench. So, yep, you will have a lineage wrench. So we got Flowers Galore. Flower, are you FBA? Are you with the lineage? Let me know. Bar time in the building. Jamal Henderson says, genealogy records won't support this. I've been doing genealogy for the last 5 years, and I have found one breeding farm. I stumbled upon your channel, but okay, thank. Well, this is perfect. You know, perfect timing. Yeah, but we got the account of former enslaved people themselves telling their story, what they had to do, and we got the slave masters documenting what they had to do. So, unfortunately, it did happen, and it makes sense why we're just the best. The FBAs are the best. We're the only ones that represent black excellence. No other black person in this world came close to what we accomplished, and we went through the worst. These guys didn't These guys weren't bred. These guys were not in chains and plantations, picking cotton 24/7, getting whipped for the slightest thing, and Jim Crow and pyramid system and all this stuff, all the way down to now. And we were the minority. Keep in mind, we were the only blacks who were the minority to white folks. White folks outnumbered us 100 to 1. So it was like no wins. We could rebel all we want. It was an L. But you guys were the only. You guys were blacks collectively that outnumbered the white men 100 to 1. So it's, to me, it makes the most sense that if you are outnumbered 100 to 1, you are the underdog. You're going to lose. You're going to be forced to do things you don't want to do just for survival. But what doesn't make sense to us, if you are the favorite, if you outnumber the white man 100 to 1, how are you being forced to do something that you don't want to do? That's against your nature and your morality, your core, everything, your dignity. So we can't respect that. But you guys have rebellions. Yeah, that's nothing to brag about. You outnumber them 100 to 1. What's more respectable is to have a rebellion and you're outnumbered 100 to 1. You're outnumbered. And a prime example is the movie 300. We love it because this fierce 300, I think, Romans fought against the Persian army, and they were like hundreds of thousands, and they held it down for a little bit. People respect that. Now, if the movie was 300,000 and it was 300,000 people beating up on, 200, that's not going to be a great, hero story at all, heroic story at all. So we're different. We took less shit from white supremacy being the underdog. You took more shit from white supremacy being the favorite. That can't be let go. That can't be forgot. We ain't going to change history. They bring their lady tails over here to take advantage of what we built. Right. So flowers galore. I'm going to throw you a lineage wrench as well. Everybody should, if you can, take a moment. Tiger peace. If everybody golden heart. Yeah. Okay. So Pinky in the building. So if everybody could take a moment to just like the video, that'd be great. Right. And we're going to keep going. All right. Here we are. Jamal Henderson says, same day, I truly recommend you through your genealogy. Everyone's story is not the same. All right. Yeah, well, maybe you could come on one day, Jamal Henderson, and you could click the link and then share your genealogy. And you could show us. For those who don't know how to do it, you can show how to do it and how it looks and what you had to do to get this and that. You could do a presentation today. I think that'd be more productive, just to come on and share your screen and don't be like the other caller just talking. Actually show how it's done and show where what led you to be where you are and what you found. All right. Yeah, so we only got 57 likes. That's ridiculous. We need 70 more. But let's listen to the sister. So this sister right here was a Pan-Africanist. She loved Africans and things like that. But watch her testimony.
And I just decided to do it just now because I think it's relevant and I think it's very necessary.
Yeah, because I wouldn't either, Jamal. So what you should do is you can black out the names, right? So you could maybe black out. So let's say like your name. Your name is Jamal Henderson. What you could do is black out the A. You could show the J, block out the AMAL, and then block out the Henderson. Just keep the H there. So now we just have the JH. You can do that because I'm not. Also, I don't like to show my family's names and things like that because I believe a tether can steal it and use this to source up to show how they're FBA. I was playing. All right. J.K. Perkins says, Pinky, have you heard of Haiti? They rebelled and kicked the French out. Well, let me respond to that for you. Matter of fact, how about calling? Can you tell us more about that? Yeah. So I want J.K. Perkins to call in. Okay, hold on. Let me put the phone back in. And let me play the video. But J.K., call in and tell us about this
here
Haitian
talking to my daughters
rebellion.
And just I have loved Africa my whole life.
her whole life. And family, this is going to be a great show. My last video, I'm going to talk about the Creek Nation. I'm going to go into like a little history of the Creek Nation, right? And you're going to love it because there's some things I know you guys have never heard of because there's a lot of history there. Nobody can know everything about it. But I got something that's very, very valuable to know. Then I got Rick Nasheed had talked to a white supremacist about that white-only community. And that was a very, very important live. He did an hour and 31 minutes. And he don't redo it like that. He did like 30 minutes. But this they took the whole live on this topic. It was very important. White boy was really, really, really on some white supremacist shit, and it got crazy.
I have loved the continent my whole life.
But what's the name? Perk. What's his name? J.K. Perkins. Call the phone number and let's talk about the Haitians rebellion, because I be like, you guys say stuff like "oh boy who just called in," but then you don't know what you're talking about. But then you'll ask us like a clickbait question. Hey, Pinky, have you? And all of us heard of the Haitians rebellion. I don't think you know about the Haitian rebellion. I think you're just saying shit. And call in. Like, that's not my country. That ain't my history. But I probably know more than you. Okay? So call in.
Life. And I can say that about innumerable Black Americans. I have loved Africa my whole life.
Yeah, they all running. They just talking.
And it has always been
American
my
copper.
dream to go there, at least to visit, at least to, commune with the people that live there, to maybe find my tribe or, I don't know. But I've always loved Africa.
What happened?
And so it hurts.
What changed your mind?
To hear them talk about us like this. They call us stupid.
Mm-hmm.
They call us dumb. They have told us on numerous occasions.
Now, keep in mind, sisters and brothers in the chat, this is a woman who used to love Africa and Africans, straight Pan-Africanists. Thought one day we can all get along and live in Wakanda.
That
we'll all get along and help Ibrahim Traoré become T'Challa.
We have no culture.
And I am getting to the next. So look at my tab. This is the next tab. Okay, just hold it. This is the next tab right here. Put it in there.
African Americans built this nation.
Hold on. That's the next tab. So the next one tab is in here. There we go. So we're getting there. So this ain't clickbait. We're getting there.
They have insisted, up until this year, they have insisted that they are not us. There have been numerous and incalculable times and conversations either on TikTok or on Facebook, whatever, social media, where you just hear them just degrading us so badly. And even when you try and sit and you try to have a conversation with them, it always goes back to them degrading us. It's like they can't not degrade us. And then we find out about this UA thing where they have basically been plotting.
Keep in mind, this is a recent former Pan-Africanist. Just keep in mind. She's not somebody who shouts out the lineage, FBA, Adolf, that type of stuff.
For so long, like all these years, they've been plotting with this government, and we know the government hates us. The government will work with anybody that hates Black America. and they latched on. And there have been agreements obviously made. Like, yeah, you let us come over there, you give us money or whatever, and we'll do the deed. And they are doing the deed. Their whole mission and plan is
She
to
looks hurt.
replace us in this country.
Oh, I got a video. I did a reaction to a video, I should say, that they are trying to replace us. Now, this woman, again, she just came out of Pan-Africanism yesterday, and she's coming to the realization, talking with these folks, you know, building with them, trying to work with them, and she came into the realization that they are ultimately trying to replace us, and she's specifically more talking about Africans, not people from the island or Haiti. She's specifically talking about Africans. So don't conflate, chat. Let's keep her words wholesome and truthful. He's talking about Africans. And I always say, like, we got as much in common with an African than we got with a Chinese person. Okay, so the Haitians and people from the islands, they're more so, we got a lot in common with them. We live with them, we share things, we go to school with them. We can't say the same for Africans. The Africans, a lot of them come off as having no soul at all. Just like I said, a Chinese person, just, you know, into their own world.
Their whole mission and plan is to erase
3M.
what we have done and tack it on as if they have done it. They have become our new oppressors. Actually, they were a part of the system. We just didn't know it.
Uh-oh. So now remember, a lot of these tethers and Pan-Africans always say that we use white supremacist talking points, right-wing, alt-right talking points. And I always say, well, quote it. Say something that they have said, quote something that they have said, and then quote us saying it verbatim. That can't happen. It never happened. But on the opposite, I could say something that white supremacy say, and then I could show you a tether or a Pan-African is saying it verbatim, word for word. Hustle.
And it's okay for us to delineate from that.
Nah, give us free. I don't sound hurt. I sound very happy, but good. Have a great day. You're in hell. I just sent you to hell. A peace to Renaissance woman. Yeah, they are. And look, again, this chat. Listen, don't let them fool you. They're mad at FBAs, Adolf, and Friedman because we are so-called awoke. We haven't awakened to the lies, and we have awakened to what's necessary, which is delineation and getting on code, right? That hates them. But what hates them worse, family, what hates them worse is sisters like this. Black Americans who don't claim Adolf just yet, Black Americans who don't claim FBA or Friedman just yet, and they're coming to the same conclusion as us. That's what hates them the most, because this woman, I don't watch one video of Yvette Carnell or Treat Nasheed, and tethers and Pan-Africans like to show us that they're our leaders. But with her, they can't do that. So she's come up with the same conclusion as us, but she doesn't listen to who we listen to. She's not influenced of who we're influenced by. So believe me, this one hurts. This hurts more than all of what we can say. All the truth we can expose, that don't hurt. They expect that from us. But women like this, men also, that's like unsuspected of what's going on code, that hurts more because they know that these folks are just easy for the picking. All she needs now is just to talk to one of us, and she's on board immediately. See, so the Bible says the field is plentiful, but the laborers are few. I'm not religious. I like that quote. So it's the same thing with us, FBA. There's so many people out there that are FBA, but are unaware of the code, the lineage, right? And the laborers were few. It's only it's like, 100,000, 500,000 of us, but it's 43 million. So we just start grabbing them, reaching out to them. Once her video, whoever knows her channel, reach out to her. Hey, sis, you're FBA. This is why they doing that. They dig, and she's on code that fast.
But that shit
Chandra.
hurts. It hurts. I have gotten in arguments with my husband about Africa.
Judite warrior.
I have
Right, Tiger.
talked to my children. They probably know more. They know more about Africa than many people in Africa.
Right. Because listen, family, Africa is a religion. It's like Scientology. It's more than just, you know what? Wow, our country is unique. It's interesting. I'm amazed by things that's there, the animals, the Amazons, wow, the pyramids. No, it's a religion. It's a religion, family. Africa is a religion. She just said her kids know more about Africa because they worship it more than an African. While we bragging about Africa and the motherland, and they get cow piss on their head, while we bragging about those practices, they are fleeing to come over here. We're dreaming about going over there and watching somebody get pissed on their head while they fleeing. Hey, brother, where you going? America, dumbass. They're flying over here, man.
We taught them everything. And they have come to love Africa. But Africa does not love us, y'all.
At all. Judite word. I'm going to throw you a lineage wrench. She said 22% Nigerian DNA. Exactly. So you're not Nigerian. It's too low. Nigerians are 88 to damn near 99% Nigerian. Low 90s to the high 90s Nigerian. You can't be 22% of something and then be it. You can't be 22% a spider and then be a spider. That's the minority. No, if you're 22% something and you're 70% something else, you're not the 22%. You're not the minority. So they're trying to trick us, and Judite understands that. Passport King, I'm gonna throw your lineage
and
ring.
It hurts to say that, and it's not all Africans, but the ones that I have encountered.
She is cooking. Now, everybody, go ahead and like the video. Folks are pulling up. We're behind in likes. Let's get it there. This is going to be a good one. So I got the Creek Nation right here. Okay, we're going to do this later. Creek Nation. It's going to be a lit live. I got Nick Fuentes coming up.
I had a job with an African, a couple of them, but this particular
Passport.
one. Can you stop banging?
Yeah, she sound like me with my son. Like, hey, can you stop? Okay, so I'm forced to get him something. So justice for the LPA says Daddy Nick is engaging in that divide and conquer that your house grows love. Justice, I disagree. I don't believe that those right wing know anything about what we're doing. If they did, they'll be way more involved. The liberals do for sure. So we know Kamala Harris, we know Roland Martin, we know the liberals know for sure. Family, I think the Candace Owens of the world are totally clueless about what's going on the left. Totally. With us.
Here, let me help you. Hold the top. Hold it tight. Hold it tight with both hands. Oh my God. You're only 6. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be me in the background. Right or wrong.
I think I lost my spot because my son. But
Now tell me, you sound just like me.
yeah, my kids know about Africa. They were looking forward to visiting Africa. We all were. But they don't want us over there except for to do what we've done here. They just want to do to us in Africa what America did to us here. They want us to.
Right. But family, listen, take your time, because I'm giving commentary. Take your time and like the video. We are 80 likes behind. That's ridiculous for folks that are of the lineage. That could be FBA, freedmen, or ADOS.
Come over
I just say
there
lineage
and help them to build Africa. They want our money, whatever money they think we have. They want.
Famous
They want
Ogun,
the
I'm gonna throw your lineage rent. She
They
says
want.
FBA, so I gotta do that.
Want the money.
They just want the
They
money.
just want
Damn.
they just want us to build Africa.
Hey, yo, is that a fact or
They
what,
don't
yo?
want us. And it has become very clear. And so I say to you, Black Americans, whether you consider yourself Black American or African American,
Told you.
these people are not.
She didn't say FBA. She didn't say freedmen or ADOS. She is unsuspected of what we got going on. So now watch this, family. And listen to these stupid tethers in the chat. But you got Black people, Black Americans who are unaware of what we're doing. But we think goofy conservatives know. Like, stop.
Our allies. They were probably already our enemies, and we just didn't know it. Just like I had no idea that Hispanic people felt that way about us. I had no idea that other people of color, like, until TikTok. And then you can hear it coming out of
Okay, it looks like somebody got to her. When she started to express and expose Africa, it sounds like some FBAs got to her. And I'm looking at videos, and she's understanding her FBA lineage. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Welcome to the family tree, sister.
Hear them saying, I'm not Black, I'm not this, I'm not that, you're this. I mean, it's like they get pride from calling us slaves, even though we are not slaves anymore. Our ancestors were slaves, but they get pride
Enslaved.
from calling us slaves.
Right.
They get pride. They feel pride
Mama,
by calling us
how you doing?
Akata, which
Deep
means
South descendant. Let me
Akata
throw you a lineage wrench.
in Nigeria. They get pride from that.
So I throw you a lineage wrench, Deep South descendant. So all my new family is pulling up. We got Rashad Wallace. Let me throw you a lineage wrench. Please like the video, because our likes so far got you guys here, right? So we're one big family tree. We got Rashad Wallace. We got Live Wire. I don't know. He said clueless. I don't know. Why does YouTube suppress Black country? Yeah. So Andreas, 100% FBA. Yo, we stay shadow banned, yo. We stay being shadow banned.
They get pride. They feel pride when they tell us that we have no culture.
Will,
even though they move over here and they tack on to our culture and they learn. There are videos.
Family, like the video, subscribe. We be litty every morning.
How to talk like a Black person, and then, but the videos.
Wait. So what she say? Listen to what she said. Listen.
There are videos of Africans practicing how to talk like a Black person, and then.
I shared those videos. That's wild.
But the videos are showing them talking to other Africans back in Africa. This is how you say this. You got to say it like this.
Yeah. So the title is the title. I got Nick Fuentes coming up. He's right here. I'm gonna play that in a second. Okay.
Yes.
Be patient.
They're emulating us.
We call it cosplaying.
There's a video of Muhammad Ali who said that after he won the gold medal for boxing, he threw it in the river because he went to a restaurant that he could not get into as a Black man, but he saw two Africans and they got in freely. And you know how long ago that was? So
I need that video.
They've been doing this for that long. And so it is time for us to, and I know
Solomon 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna throw your lineage ring, brother. Just like the video, subscribe, and tap in with us in the morning. I try to go live about 9 a.m., 10 a.m. every morning.
Then our list of allies have grown thin. But I also think about Aragorn, who said there is always hope. And I also think about Deborah in the Bible, in the book of Judges, who went to battle, and she had 10,000 men, at her helm, and God told her, this ain't gonna work. These 10,000 are too weak. And when Deborah went to war, she went to war with 300. And she went to war with God before her, behind her, above her, and below her, all around. And we know what happened in that Bible story. So I don't care whether we're losing allies or whether our list of allies are going thin. There is always hope. And as Black Americans, I was about to say African Americans, that damn Jesse Jackson, but as Black Americans, we have always overcome. We have overcome without them. We do not need them. They need us, and they know they need us. And so I'm not afraid. I was very saddened. I was sad. I was so sad. Like, man, this is really sad. But I had to admit that these MFers, they mean no good for us. And I don't care if I die today or if I die next year or if I die, I will die fighting for my people. Because we deserve it. Because our ancestors deserve it. Because our children deserve it. So if they want to go to war, let them go to war against us. I saw a video of one African lady talking, this is war. You're going to boycott us. This is war. You called war, not us. Because all the way up until now, Black Americans have been calling for unity. We have been begging for unity. And every time we beg for unity, your responses have always been, we not Black. I'm Jamaican American. I'm Haitian American. There's a little girl in New York putting out videos talking about this is ours. So what if we have 300 to fight with? I would rather fight with the 300 that I know got my back than...
That crazy? I just made the 300 reference. All right, so now let's move forward. All right, what is it? I don't even know what this is, Greg.
You built this nation. You know, you're just starting to get real credit for that. Okay, I don't know if you know that. You're just starting to get, you built the nation. We all built it, but you were such a massive part of it. Bigger than you were.
So now listen, these tethers would tell us how racist Donald Trump is, and he may be. All right, but for him to give us our duly flowers, while some of us are still alive, but let's give our ancestors flowers, and a person who claims to be Black or claims to be African, for them to deny the obvious, and they would say that, and these same people who denied our reality, right, our history, they will call Donald Trump the racist. But he gives our ancestors flowers. But these Blacks from the diaspora, Africa, they won't give us our flowers. So who's worse? That's what I'd be asking. Who's worse? A Donald Trump person, his people, is giving us flowers for the obvious, or a tether who act like our history never counted, never happened? Come on, man. For me, it's easy.
We're given credit for. Does that make sense? Right?
Livewire, let me know if your FBA ADOS Cuba, I said Q, I read the chat, Friedman. Pan-Africans need to go to Cuba or stay and build. Right. Okay. So it was something in this video I wanted to play. I don't even know how I end up even. It might be right here. I don't know how I end up clicking this video. I'm like, what the hell is this about? Yeah, I know it was more than a Donald Trump thing. I know that.
Kidnap them like we're doing now.
Okay, here we go.
First.
All right, so
No
listen to this
embassy.
tether projection.
This country is the only place we've ever had. It's not about immigration. It's about shutting.
I don't know what this is right here. But you see, they try to show the ICE. Now, look at these tethers. They're trying to show the BLM protests with ICE. You know the difference? The people on the right were actually being violated. Their constitutional rights are being actually violated. The people on the left, they don't belong in the country. They're illegal. And most likely, they're being targeted because they're a wanted person, either from their country or our country. So this is a disingenuous screenshot, split shot. This again is disrespecting. Like they think this is like showing, look, we're all one. We're in this together, brother. This is ultimate slap in the face disrespect. Even a white supremacist wouldn't do no video like this. This is the ultimate disrespect.
Know that back in the day we already did it to them first. Since we banned Black history, you may not know that back in the day we went all the way to Africa, find them minding their own Black business, kidnap them like we're doing now, and then drag.
First of all, nobody kidnapped. That's another lie, family. That don't let tethers and Pan-Africanists tell. White folks ain't go to Africa and kidnap nobody. They went there and they set up an LLP or a multi-membership LLC with Africans. They were in business with Africans, okay? Either LLP or multi-membership LLC, and they decided to buy and sell, okay? Africans sold us, the white man bought us. Nobody kidnapped nobody. They did a deal. They were business partners, okay? They both agreed to the terms and conditions. So as far as I'm concerned, once Africans sold us, they sold our birthright. They sold our ancestry. You dig? That's how I look at it. Once you sold us, you said goodbye, and we're saying goodbye to you. Okay, we're saying goodbye to you. You kicked us out, right? Forced migration, and we're saying goodbye to you.
Them to a completely foreign country and made them work, all while whipping them. And we continued to do so for centuries. We even invented something called the no-knock warrants, meaning we would just show up to Black people's houses, rip them out their sleep, or unalive them without having to identify ourselves and with absolutely zero consequences. And the whole time we were doing this, Black people didn't exactly have.
Now she's comparing that to ICE. This filthy tether.
Besties to stand beside them, or as they like to call it, they have no allies. They were all alone. In fact, some of you sued to be one of us. Now that you have that. Context. We are just here to remind you that we are the problem, okay? We've always been the problem. We're still the problem, and we're gonna continue to be the problem. people already know this. Some of you are a little surprised. See, if you listened to black people when they warned you about us, which we make sure you never do because we always saw divisions. Anyway, you would know that aligning yourselves with us leads nowhere. First of all, we would never accept you, no matter how close you are.
I hate when I press mute. My fault, family. When the video keeps stopping and stopping, it's not lagging. That's me. I'm on talking on mute. I said her cake soap worked out really well. She used to be like the same complexion as Whoopi Goldberg. All right, so that cake, look at the expressions, like she mastered like the Nicki Minaj, these like bimbo Barbie girl like facial expressions. Look at this shit. Every time I pause it, she got this weird, sick, self-hating like expression, like trying to do her like bimbo. Shit. These are sick tethers, man.
We just know our people. We know who is us and who.
Look. Every time I pause it, she looks crazy.
Who not like us. So when black people say that they're resting, we make sure that you call them selfish and lazy. And even though this is really not their business, we make sure that you only.
This is a ugly fuck lady. Trying her best to look like a damn white woman.
Come after black people and never us. Even though we voted for this. We have been voting for this since the 60s when the civil rights was passed. Our hero, Ronald Reagan, made sure that this exact...
All right. Let's start right there. All right, she's rambling. All right, so let's get it. Here it is. Let's hear it. All right, so now he's going to make some supremacists, some supremacy in there, which is read between the lines, all right? He's going to revise history a bit, but his conclusion is spot on. We read it. We read that in this country only, there was slave breeding. There was building the strong with the strong to produce a strong race of people who are the strongest race of people when it comes to blacks. All right.
Well, I think it's more nature than people would like to believe. There's this classic tension of, is it nature, is it nurture? Is it cultural, or is it intrinsic? Is it racial? And I've always been on the latter side of this among conservatives. Conservatives like to say it's all culture. Black America is the way it is because of hip-hop music and the Great Society and that kind of stuff. And I think the uncomfortable reality is...
Okay, so you see, so he's saying that some people say, yeah, Black America, we're representing Black excellence above all blacks because of our hip-hop culture and things like that in between and the middle. But he's saying, nah, there's a different reality that he is concerned with.
A big part of it is intrinsic. One of the big arguments against the abolition of slavery in the 1860s is that, when Europeans colonized Africa, they hadn't discovered the wheel. There's no two-story buildings. There's no writing. There's no written language. Missionaries had to go to Africa in the last century and invent it for the African people because there's no recorded history. They didn't have writing.
So Egypt is not in Africa?
Well, Egypt is a different race. The Egyptians were not black.
Okay, but you said when they went to Africa, so I just want to...
The interior of Africa in the late 19th century, scrambled for Africa.
So we're now knocking Egypt out of Africa.
Well, Egypt is part of northern Africa, sub-Saharan Africa.
You said Africa, so I'm not trying to get a gotcha. I'm just responding. You're saying Africa.
Sure. Yeah.
It's in Africa. It's Egypt. It's kind of ridiculous to say there was no written language. Well, but I'm just trying to get you to
sure. Egyptians are not Africans.
If I'm not pushing back, the internet will. So
Egyptians are not racial Africans. When I say African, I'm saying sub-Saharan Africans.
Sub-Saharan, okay.
Black people because it is a different race.
So he kind of rambled a little white, playing with this.
Sub-Saharan Africa, and Europeans did not penetrate that until late 19th century. They didn't have any of this. To the extent that you have infrastructure in Africa, it's from the Muslims in the Sahel and the Maghreb in northern Africa, where the Arabs colonized. And then you had, Carthage and Egypt. You had ancient civilizations. But sub-Saharan Africa, they didn't have that. You take these people out of that land and put them here.
Right. Renaissance
and
woman.
They're enslaved.
Like it's only hip-hop.
You let them free in a modern, liberal republic. They're not going to succeed. It's not going to go well for them. And that was one of the arguments against abolition.
See, that's kind of what that's what LBJ concluded as well. He said, you see, but here's the problem. See, now it's a contradiction because they would say they freed us. Oh, now we freed you. That's your reparations. But we had that argument. You freed us to what? You freed us to, destitution. Like you freed us to homelessness. You freed us to poverty. What you freed us to. You didn't equip us to do for ourselves. Like that was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad position. Like that's not freedom. Freedom ain't to lock somebody up and let them go in a random place and say, okay, go do it for yourself. You'll pull up your bootstrap. That's not freedom. You got to be equipped. They didn't do that with themselves. So you can't acknowledge that and then in another debate act like you didn't say that. Like that wasn't reality. And that's a problem with a lot of these conservatives. Like they'll contradict themselves just to win an argument. But that's true though. Like you can't just free us and don't provide any tools and a place to stay and things like that, food, and just say, all right, you guys are good.
People said if you free them without any assimilation, without any kind of process for them to be acclimated, they're going to die. And that's exactly what happened. Many of like the bottom 10% of like the lowest IQ Africans just died off for generations. And it had a, pardon the expression, but it had a eugenic effect because over time.
There we go, the eugenic effects. I read the Willie Lynch right here, the Willie Lynch letter, right, which is purely eugenics. Okay, it's a mythical story, but it's based on eugenics and slave breeding. And see, Nick Fuentes, as goofy as he might be, he acknowledged that there was a lot of slave owners practiced eugenics with FBAs. And doing that, you produce the strongest, the wisest, the fastest, the most prettiest, all that type of stuff. You dig? It is what it is. Can't rewrite history. So again, another so-called, well, he is a white supremacist, but it's funny how white supremacists can acknowledge this, but people who claim to be African can't. So it's back to who's worse. Somebody denying you your flowers in history, or somebody saying, "Now you got it. You did that."
Time, if the weakest are dying off, that's one argument for why blacks in America have a standard deviation higher IQ than the blacks in sub-Saharan Africa. So
there you go. He just said it. He said, and that eugenics process, which is also called slave breeding, and we know as Willie Lynch, that is the reason. He just said that is the reason why we got a higher IQ, stronger, faster, smarter, prettier, everything over, he said, the average sub-Saharan African. So that means everybody else. Everybody comes from sub-Saharan African, and that's everybody who claims to be black. All right. So, Keith, no, wait. So we just, SP, we don't even know what that is, bro. What the hell is black power, bro? You just made some shit up, black power. There's no black power, man. That black power is really tether power, and we don't subscribe to that. Yeah, you over here talking smack. Okay. All right, let's go. One more time, by the way.
Of like the lowest IQ, modern,
one more time.
Liberal.
So he just said the obvious. I mean, family. A lot of us don't talk about this too much because we talk about other things, but family, and we kind of like know it's going to be like controversial, but family, it is what it is. Over here, we had slave breeding happening. They breeded the strongest with the strongest, the smartest with the smartest. That happened nowhere ever. Hitler tried that shit and it flopped. Okay, so we were the only successful people that they practiced eugenics and it worked. And now the world is mad at the result. It produced a superior, resilient FBA people that represents the minority, but will rebel. We're the only ones that will rebel as a minority. These tethers rebel as a majority. I can't give you flowers. You outnumbered them 100 to 1. You're supposed. That's not even rebellion. That's just get the hell out. To call it a rebellion is like disrespecting yourself. Like, how are you the most numerous people and it's a rebellion? It's not a rebellion, bro. You're just kicking the nuisance out. A rebellion is when you're the minority. All right. Let me give Weejib the number. All right. And some of y'all who disagree. Wait. So you guys that disagree with me, let me give you guys a number. All I say is be respectful. I will give you time to talk. just know that you are a guest, right? So that means when I say, okay, bro, my turn, don't try to be equal. Don't try to be equal with me. Dude, this is my live podcast. So if I say, okay, hold on. But you will be able to express your thoughts. But if you say something contradictory or, not true, I'm going to hold you to that. All right? So I won't let you get out of that. So let me put the meeting number back in. So for anybody who disagrees with me, you don't got to troll in the chat. You can actually just call in, and I won't be blocking you in, as long as you know you're calling in, you're a caller. You're calling into a podcast, a YouTube podcast. That means be respectful. And I say, stop. I do want to engage with you guys. I don't mind engaging. Now, ain't nobody sleep. Ain't nobody sleep today. They got the phone number. That's the phone. So you guys call in, Reverend Green, peace. That's the phone number. So Kai Fisher said the Most High made us perfect from the beginning. And Keith Ambrose said, why is he so obsessed with black people? Yeah, bro, that's a lot of them, bro. Again, it's back to, look, let me answer Keith Ambrose question, bro, because they know about FBA. They know that we are the fruition of eugenics, a.k.a. slave breeding, a.k.a. Willie Lynch. And people just admire that, and they admire that, and they know they can't compete with it. So they got to always keep us without tools, without equal access to things. They got to always keep us on a bottom end. They can never give us a fair shot because we'll go crazy. We'll go crazy with information, technology, science, and everything else. So they have to. They know
it. Republic. They're not going to succeed. It's not going to go well for them. And
when I say they, that's talking about white supremacists. All right? That's the noun. That's the established noun.
Modern, liberal, republic, they're not going to succeed. It's not going to go well for them. And that was one of the arguments against abolition. People said if you free them without any assimilation, without any kind of process for them to be acclimated, they're going to die. And that's exactly what happened. Many of the bottom 10% of the lowest IQ Africans just died off generation.
Okay, so now that's called eugenics, right? So you're saying the dumbest of the crew fell off. That means they didn't make it. They didn't come over here, right? They didn't meet the next generation, right? They didn't help produce the next generation. So that means the next generation didn't have that weakness, right? Just people stronger, okay?
And it had a, pardon the expression, but it had a eugenic effect because over time, if the weakest are dying off, that's one argument for why blacks in America have a standard deviation higher IQ than the blacks in sub-Saharan Africa. So, I do believe there is something intrinsic going on there. And what makes people uncomfortable about this is the idea that it's unchangeable. There's something.
Wait. Hey, are you trolling? You said Africans stoned a man who took down the white Jesus in Africa. Wow, that's crazy. Hey, that is wild. Oh yeah, now I know about that part, Judite Warrior. Yeah, they're sick, man. But they want us to line up with them. Sick people like that.
Something about, and this is why I'm a Catholic, we do have an inherent desire for universalism. We do believe that there's a common humanity and a common human community and all of that. We hate the idea just the way it is. We're born a certain way and we can never change. And that's just the way it is. And we even think about this in terms of, it's become not so popular these days to tell children, you can be whatever you want to be. Some ugly, some handsome.
Mutable character.
All those attributes are immutable and unchangeable. But
they have changed. Just factually speaking, they have changed.
They change over time, over the generations.
Okay. So then you don't think it's immutable. Because if this was an immutable characteristic.
Individual person.
Okay, so you're saying that if you are born at this space and time as a black person in America, here is the cards that you're dealt with and you can't change that over time.
Something like IQ does not.
Okay, so now, hold on.
Change.
Cards that you're dealt with and you can't change that over time.
Something like IQ does not change.
Okay, now this is your average. Now, so now he's going into the bell curve. Okay, Charles Murray, blacks. Blacks. Now, when they say blacks, they mean blacks globally. Blacks globally, IQ is just inferior to whites, and they ignore all of the evidence. They cherry pick certain things, and they ignore all the evidence that explains why black people might test lower than white people again. But even the tests are cherry picked. But this notion, and that's why you got it, guys. When people call themselves a black conservative, when I hear that, I know you are one of the biggest deniers of history in the world and the truth. It's like they have to lie. They have to borrow the whole playbook. Why you can't just borrow some of the playbook that's true and factual and makes sense, logically, is reasonable, and then, reject the pseudoscience. This IQ thing, this is pseudoscience. Like, I gotta look at my video, like Charles Murray, the bell curve. It's cooked.
That you're dealt with, and you can't change that over time.
Something like IQ does not change. No, doesn't change wildly. It only changes genetically over. IQ is a big one, and that changes.
Okay, so he's lying.
That's a genetic trait, and so that can change over the generations, but not.
Okay, now he's lying. The IQ is not genetics. So, family, code word, because I study this. So, callers, if you do call, I study this. So when they say it does not change genetically, I'm gonna summarize it. All they're saying is they believe in something called a smart gene and a dumb gene. So they believe on average, white folks are born with the smart gene, and on average, black folks. And when I say black folks, they talking about all globally. They're not saying Jamaica, Africa, America. They're talking all.
You can't take an individual that's 75 IQ, which is.
Eli, you want to call in and discuss IQ testing? Eli, there's a phone number. Eli. Hey, no. Eli, call in. Explain. Now, the environmental part is true, but it's not genetic. So, Eli, that's the phone number. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the IQ. Because look, your only source is Charles Murray, the bell curve. You have nothing outside of that agrees with what you just said when it comes to genetics. Okay, and like I said, that's a cherry pick put together test. Because what they don't consider, family, that's also IQ, is your ability to discern. If you can draw very well. So like there's other traits of IQ that's not testing. Testing isn't the only measure of IQ. So you're a fool. And watch this, family. Thomas Sowell is most white supremacist godfather. And even Thomas Sowell, listen, Eli, listen, learn something, boy. Even Thomas Sowell agrees that the IQ thing is bullshit. I can play the clip. I can play the clip where Thomas Sowell said the IQ thing is bullshit. Now, he is the godfather of white supremacists. Most of their talking points come from him. Most of their talking points, even Nick Fuentes, in this debate or sit down with Candace Owens, he said that he studies Thomas Sowell. Every white supremacist studied Thomas Sowell. Damn near all of them.
Is the average in West Africa and take them to 100.
So two dumb people can't produce a smart person.
I believe they can, actually.
Yeah.
He did debunk himself.
So does that kind of debunk your?
No, because it's rare that happens. But
oh my God! Yeah, now this how you sound, Eli. He just debunked himself.
IQ is a heritable trait, so it's unlikely that happens.
Okay.
And do you not recognize that there's group differences in IQ? Or?
I think that there's group differences, but okay. I wouldn't say.
First of all, another thing is race is a social construct. Right? When you say black and white, you're not really black and white. So now listen, those groups they're talking about, like even that plays a big part because it's just too broad. Like the selective testing Charles Murray did is too broad. It doesn't produce a real. I can read it for y'all on the fly. I can debunk this, but whatever.
And the reason why I'm pushing back on this is because those perspectives that you hold, Thomas Sowell did a really good job debunking that. Mm. And I think the book is called Intellectuals and Race, and he opens.
Told you. Look, she been exposed. Like, yo, you're dealing with some 1980 pseudoscience from Charles Murray or 1990. That shit been flipped, flayed, they've been fried, filleted, baked, scrambled, cooked, deep fried. That's false news. And no self-respecting black conservative will ever say that is true. That's why, even though they're coons like Candace Owens and the Jesse Lee Petersons, they will not agree with that Charles Murray IQ testing. Okay?
Job. Do you think that there's group differences? But okay. I wouldn't say, and the reason why I'm pushing back on this is because
so I don't care about the status, but Candace Owens she's FBA because she has one parent that's FBA. So she's FBA. She's just a coon. That's all. She's a coon.
Because,
but she's not a super coon. Okay, because she's over here. She's not letting Nick get that off. Okay, so listen, you got black folks that let Nick just go and without any challenge and just lie to the public and her audience. Now, she has a large audience. She dropped a video, it's like damn near 900,000, 1 million views in like maybe a day or two. So she has a large influence on people, and a lot of white people watch her too. So for her to debunk that and challenge it right away, you know, I give her a little credit because she could have easily let him just talk his shit and just, you know, influence more white people on this pseudoscience lie.
And do you not recognize that there's group differences in IQ? Or?
I think that there's group differences, but okay. I wouldn't say, and the reason why I'm pushing back on this is because those perspectives that you hold, Thomas Sowell did a really good job debunking that. And I think...
Now, look, I told you, I said Thomas Sowell. You see, and she brought Thomas Sowell. I said, that's their grandfather. He's not going to challenge Thomas Sowell findings. Watch.
The book is called Intellectuals and Race, and he opens up and makes a very sound argument that these characteristics are not immutable and that it can be your environment. And he kind of goes back and discusses, like, you know, who had the highest IQ and who now has the highest IQ. And so I just disagree with you fundamentally, but you have a right to have that perspective.
So you don't think that there's group differences on average between the races?
I think, just to be clear, I
told you, he's not going to challenge his granddaddy, Thomas Sowell. Thomas Sowell is an FBA coon. White supremacists don't challenge him.
Group differences, if you took it, like we were talking about, an American versus somebody who graduates college in Europe, there'd be tremendous differences. Not
tremendous, but yeah, there would be slight differences, but you don't think that racially there's differences between races?
I think, yeah, because we have huge differences culturally. So going to your point of saying, I don't want to live in a black neighborhood, well, you
can't sit up straight.
Neither does LeBron James when he gets money, right? And there's a reason for that, because there is something that's happening culturally in Black America that's been going on for a very long time.
No. See, and you got to. I'm family. I ain't gonna pat myself on the shoulder, but I am shoulder and back. I am very versed in black conservative talking points, period, and definitely black ones. Okay, so they like to blame our condition on our culture, right? That goes to hip hop. Think about everything we do culturally. Like they like to say that our condition is wretched and undesirable because of our culture. If we just change our culture, you know, pick up your pants, tie your shoes, put your hat on straight, those things, wave at somebody, say good morning, those things are going to change our outcome. So black conservatives, they deny systemic racism. Okay? So when she's talking, I'm just catching on her talking points. So when they say, hey, it's culture, just keep that in mind. When they say culture, they're denying systemic racism, and they're saying we're our own worst enemy. And that won't fly with me.
But that thing, I would argue, didn't exist in...
What about in Africa and Haiti? I mean, they're killing and eat each other in Africa and Haiti, everywhere where they are.
Wait, did he say eating? Hold on.
Time. But that thing, I would argue, didn't exist in...
What about in Africa and Haiti? I mean, they're killing and eat each other in Africa and Haiti, everywhere where they...
Yeah, come on. He said they eat each other in Haiti. Okay, so now, look, he's saying the war. Listen, also, they deny, because I debated a black conservative. I'm going to get him back on here, family. I'm going to get him back on here. Because now, like, we like way more deeper. We're 200 right now. It's a black conservative, right? I debated, right? Just look at Unbiased versus CLR. And then DJ Focus came on debate him. Right, his name's CR. So you got two debates, and you're going to hear all these talking points that Candace and Nick are saying. Culture, again, they deny. Listen, family, this is important. They deny that poverty equates to crime. They deny that. Right? They say poverty does not equate crime. They say culture equates crime. So look at two things that we know for a fact that influences crime. We know poverty, and we know systemic racism. The systemic racism basically produces the poverty. In order for them to be right, they got to deny the obvious.
They are. You have these problems.
Yeah, I'd like to look into, and I'm pleading ignorant, but I've heard some things about what happened in Haiti and what the Clinton Foundation did there. So I think I'd have to look more into the history of Haiti to be able to push back on that at all. I don't think.
Yeah. So in other words, we're not going. So Haiti isn't doing well, right? Africa as a whole isn't doing well. The Caribbean ain't terrible, but they're not doing well either. But what I'm not going to do, like, there's no problem pointing out the reality, but I'm not going to lie and act like the white man have a hand in Haiti, the islands, and Africa. Okay, and that's why they're backwards and doing bad. He did. Okay, when I say white man, I'm talking about the colonizers and conquerors. They for sure had a hand there, and as a result, these countries are turned upside down.
I agree with that.
What about all of Africa then? There's not one country in sub-Saharan Africa that's successful. Not one. They're all least developed countries. They're all failed states.
This kind of reminds me, and
so DBB says it doesn't equate crime in their country. No, he said it doesn't equate crime in their community. DBB, I don't know what you're talking about, but anywhere in the world, bro, when you see crime, when you see poverty, you're going to see crime. That's in everybody's community, especially in America, but across the world. If there's poverty, there's crime, right? But people got to deny this because they're trying to act like systemic racism does not exist. So they act like there's no reason for why black people globally are not being as productive as the real race baiters, which is white folks.
We could kind of flesh out this conversation together, and I'm not perhaps ready to have it fully, but I do remember going back to Dave Smith where he was conceding a point on, well, all of these other Middle Eastern countries, no, you wouldn't want to live there. You'd want to live in Israel. In my mind, I'm going, well, because you just keep bombing the crap out of them if they ever try to get ahead. I remember watching this clip of him saying that, going, why don't these countries get ahead? And kind of going back in my mind to the Gaddafi speech where he was speaking essentially about, here's what we got to do in Libya to get ahead. Here's what we're going to do with the dollar, and we're going to be progressive and this and that. And they killed him. And then what happened to those Libyan refugees? Suddenly they're now pouring into, just like he said was going to happen, that they were now pouring into the European continent, and Europeans are complaining, who are these people?
Yeah, so I don't know what you guys are talking about, but I ain't saying my chat, I'm saying the guys who told me Nick was winning this. Where's Nick winning? Like, when she gives pushback, like, she cooks him. So and he's quiet. Yeah, I believe when they actually challenge each other and she gets pushed back, I believe she's cooking them. This ain't close. We got new folks. We got Sites Tosi. The thing is, even when our people did things different, it still didn't matter. When our people have more order, they still call us lazy or not good enough. Right. Like Site Toast, are you FBA, ADOS, are you part of the lineage that can lead yourself, that you can trace back to slavery? Dennis Daniel says, world black is a technical term from the Black's Law Dictionary. We shouldn't use it. Dennis Law, you got to call in. You don't have to, but if you want to explain, because I never heard of that. So Dennis Daniels, if you want to explain that, that's new to me. That's the phone number, brother. Phone 131. I'm reading it. So the phone number is there. To enter the meeting number, and you'll get through. But you got to explain that, because that wouldn't make sense. Like, black. Now we know it's a new word. It's a color. It's an adjective. But that word been around for a long time, and it also describes sadness. You can say I'm black and comely, something like that. It describes sadness, a low state, a humble state. So I don't know what you're talking about, but if you'd like to explain this Black's Law Dictionary, but let me guess, is it the 4th edition, page 792? Let me just throw out a random guess. Okay. So, anybody else? Yeah, but the Black's Law Dictionary snatch piece, that really don't do well over here. So I ain't gonna lie to you. What's his name? Hey, Dennis, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. The Black's Law Dictionary plebiscite babble, it doesn't work over here, bro. You should watch my video from yesterday, man. From yesterday night. I was debating a plebiscite battler. It didn't go well for him.
People. And so the question is, are we allowing, because I'm like, Africa is a pretty rich country. Like, why aren't Africans controlling the diamond trade? Who's taking all of the diamonds so that they can't control the diamond trade? And how long have these people been doing that, being essentially culture vultures? That's kind of the journey that I've been on now in terms of really trying to go back and look into history to see what's happened. And I never trust myself when I have a perspective now, because I realize how much of my opinions and beliefs were shaped by the public school system. And so I don't think you're...
So watch that talking point. So this is the problem, family. When you hear liberals talk, when you hear conservatives talk, when you hear religious folks talk, they're going to speak truth to power, and then they're going to sneak into the conversation their religious or biased views. So when she say public school, that's code word for, like, she's against federal government, like federal regulation. And my video yesterday morning covers why conservatives and white racists are against alt-right, right-wing, far-right, why they're against government. It goes all, matter of fact, yesterday morning it's called The Origins of something, but Confederacy or something like that. But it goes back to Confederacy versus the Union. The Confederates took the L, and they had produced kids that became anti-government, sovereign citizens, and weirdos, and Timothy McVeigh's, and people like that, and Waco, Texas, David Koresh, whatever his name is, like shit like that. But the laws that they took versus the Union, they literally crashed out and lost their mind. And then they got the most conspiracy theories that the world's ever seen. And sometimes you guys be repeating those conspiracy theories and not knowing the root of it until you call in. And I'm gonna let you know where you got it from. And sometimes I gotta do it by shaming you.
You're right. I think that there has been a very sophisticated effort to, just like you would say now, in terms of people that are intentionally attacking Anglo-Saxons. I'm just learning about that there were these books that were written to, we must genocide the Anglo-Saxons that were going on.
Jaffiah P03, how are you doing? Welcome to the channel. We are the lineage. The lineage just means that we can trace our lineage to slavery. You know, some of us go by FBA, some of us go by ADOS, American freedmen, or U.S. freedmen. All are acceptable terms because we can all trace our lineage back. And that's just matter. The term don't matter to us really like that. The question, it still boils down to, can you trace your lineage? That's either a yes or no. Whatever you say, because people say they're FBA, but they can't trace their lineage. So it's not about what you call yourself. It's what can you prove? What can you show?
And for a lot longer than I realized. History didn't begin with World War II, but I think it would take a lot of time to kind of unpack that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, are we stopping
exactly.
people from getting ahead just because, I don't know.
That just sounds, I mean, being honest with you, that just sounds to me like a left-wing argument when they say, why don't these countries get ahead? Colonialism, you're a colonizer. It's like, okay, but when we got there, they had no development. When we got to Africa, they had no technological development.
So you think that even if we weren't at war, and sure, you could say that you think that's a leftist argument. I would only push back on that because I've learned so much about just like recent history that I didn't know. But you think that the Middle East, like if we had...
No, she just confirmed that she was a dummy out here speaking on behalf of politics and black people and didn't know history. So now she's being humble at what she's finding out. And you see how she's in a difficult situation now because a lot of stuff that conservatives, say, she's probably... You see, she's giving pushback now. Like, no, that's not really
done nothing in terms of the Middle
East.
That they would just be savages and just
SB.
Be like, America didn't do anything it doesn't set anything backwards. And you're just like bombing a place.
Yeah, kind of. I think that we.
Yo, listen, this is the honest white supremacist. Yo, this guy look at his face. Look at his face, Professor. He know he's lying.
Did set them back because when they don't have political order, it prevents development and investment and things like that. But, again, when you look at the antecedents of all these, the history didn't start, like you said, with World War II in the 20th century. There's a reason that European civilization created this enormous gap between them and everybody else. And
I really hate white supremacists' view on history. Like it's like so hard to like digest. It's almost like hearing like a tether talk about how divisive we are, or how divisive we are, and how dismissive we are. You know what I mean? We're the troublemakers. Like I really, it's hard for me to stomach a white supremacist account of history.
And I don't think it was that it was white supremacy or it was unfair or
Right,
something like that. I think it's because Europeans are smarter. I think that on average, Europeans
So to
are
use your
smarter.
argument against you, that could be said about Ashkenazis. So if you're sitting here saying, I believe in some conspiracy and that it's a coordinated effort and blah, 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 they could look at you and say, that's a leftist argument. We're just smarter.
I think they are smart.
They
I
are
think
smart.
I think
Smarter.
they're
The smartest.
probably-
No. It's just smartest. So you gotta watch this little slick devil here, slick talking devil.
Leftist argument. We're just smarter.
Right. Because listen, even a lot of them call in Tariq Nasheed and say, it's the Jews. So they don't like to take an L to the Jewish community. Like they can't explain why the Jewish community is more productive than them, own more than them as a community, more influential and things like that. So they don't want to take that L. So they talk about, hey, it's a conspiracy. They sold their cell to the devil, the Bilderbergers, the DuPont family. They'll do all that. But so she just pushed back like, hey, see, black folks try to explain why white folks are ahead. It's like really just lying, deception, stealing, and stuff like that, forked tongues. And you're saying, no, we're just smarter. But on the flip side, you would say, you wouldn't admit that the Jewish people are just smarter than you and outperformed you, outworked you. You'll say, no, it's a conspiracy theory. See, so she's saying, like, you can't have it both ways, dude. And that's why I normally cook these dudes.
Ashkenazis. So if you're sitting here saying, I believe in some conspiracy and that it's a coordinated effort and blah, blah, blah,
Wait. So what does that even mean, Dave, since 89? What does that even mean? Dave said, do not time out Dave. Don't delete this comment. Let his comment stick there. Dave said FBAs are the soft blacks. What is that? Dave, I never heard that, dude. That's being divisive. Hey, Dave, I would love to hear that logic. Dave might be a Nick Fuentes supporter in here. Dave, explain that to us, bro. Call in and explain how we're the soft blacks. Because we hold it down. So I don't know what part of history you came across. You might be thinking about that sovereign, that Moorish history, bro. We don't subscribe to that.
could look at you and say, that's a leftist argument. We're just smarter.
I think they are smart.
They are smart. Smarter. The smartest.
Well, I would say this. I would say they're probably as smart as the smartest white race, but the difference between the Jews and the white people is that they work as a team. And so if you look at, for example, things like transportation.
Wait. So you see how he pick and choose when he will make a point? So he'll mention history, like ancient history. He'll mention 400 years ago. And then he'll do 20 years ago, and then he'll cut up to date, right? So now to justify why Jewish people are outperforming his people, he'll say they work together. But our argument would be, wait a minute, y'all work together too. You remember the 1892 Berlin Conference? That was a cohesive effort to undermine black people across the world. So like he pick and choose which time frame of history he wants to reference for his point. These guys are light.
White people invented every mode of transportation. Railroad, cars, airplanes, all of it. When you look at fields of knowledge, white people invented all that. Chemistry, anthropology, all that stuff. So white people really did give birth to the modern world in a major way. Jewish people are high verbal IQ because they're lawyers, they're rabbis. That's what a rabbi is a lawyer. That's what the Talmud is. It's a lawyerly back and forth. And so they're skilled at some things, and you're not wrong. They're extremely educated. They're extremely intelligent. They're a unique case where, 2% of the population overrepresented 2,000%. Are they 2,000% smarter? Answer is no. Because if you look at the standardized testing, the top scores in the high school standardized tests are almost all Asians in math and science. Asians aren't overrepresented in power. it's Jewish people. So Jewish people are not, proportionally as more intelligent as they are more overrepresented. And that goes to their real superpower, which is they're an organized minority. An organized minority.
Okay, you see? So now but you were the organized minority when you did your thing back in 1892. You did Kim Brown, salute. B1 to you. We won to everyone. Yeah, so dude is wilding. Family, we gotta do better. We got better. But we're missing 40 likes. We're missing 40 likes.
Majority will be the disorganized majority. As far as Africa is concerned, they didn't have the wheel. We got there, they didn't have the wheel. And it's unfortunate. It's not anything that people are happy about. I don't believe that makes Africans inferior. But I do think that explains their relative level of development that has been.
Okay, so I do have a call-in number for anybody, not just the ops. Anybody can call in, but really, you call in, just make a point on your plane and, back to the chat, because I got a lot of stuff to play. But anybody want to shout out to Lineage, that's a phone number for you too.
Persistent.
Or you have a quick story about maybe an experience you had in Africa or the island or with a white supremacist. That's also accepted, but make it quick.
Over centuries, millennia.
Yeah.
Call.
I'd probably just disagree with that point altogether. Okay,
yeah,
so
exactly.
you do, so then at least you are agreeing that Jewish people are just born smarter.
I agree.
Yeah, they're very high IQ. I don't know if they're smarter than white people, but they're.
You have to, that's what the results say.
That's what some results say. Depends on what results you're looking at.
Okay, so now it depends on the results. Like dude is just terrible.
Okay. I thought that was kind of the, maybe I'm just reading it in one term, but I'm pretty sure that I read somewhere that like Ashkenazis have the highest IQs.
They like to embellish that, and there's different kinds of IQ. I think China.
Oh, see, I told you. Now there are different kinds of IQs. You see, when you push them and you show a little bit about the subject, they start to give you more parameters. Like this dude is a clown, and some FBAs think he's a great debater.
Chinese people probably have the highest IQ. Chinese or Japanese.
But how do you pick and choose what you believe and what you don't believe, and then form a basis? Like, well, I definitely believe that black people are.
Hey yo, who said he got the better of Candace? I do not believe that at all. I think she schooled him, corrected him, challenged him all the conversation. Every time she gave pushback, she cooked him. This wasn't even close. This is not a debate. They had a discussion, but when he's wrong and he gets challenged, he backs down.
Are dumb, but I totally don't
necessarily
believe. I'm obviously being a little bit hyperbolic here, but I totally don't necessarily believe that Ashkenazis are the smartest. Like, how do you?
Well, I said they're probably among the smartest races. As to who's the smartest,
but the results said he's the
tough
smartest.
To say. And I think that Jewish people do embellish that for obvious reasons. Now, there are some studies that say that Ashkenazi Jews do have the highest average IQ, and that does exist.
Yeah, but so then for me, the reason why I'm skeptical of it all, to be honest with you, is because I'm skeptical of history. Full stop. Right. So when you're like, well, this is what we did.
What do you mean, all of history, or
skeptical of history, full stop, because we're living in a present right now where they're lying about what happened yesterday. And then when I realized, like, when you completely remove something that would obviously inform our perspectives in a different way, as I covered on my show this week, like the Havara agreement between the Zionists and the Nazis, like that's kind of a pretty big thing to not teach people in school that would maybe inform and make us ask some questions. When you totally remove like a German genocide and only focus on one genocide, or don't focus on speaking about the Bolshevik Revolution, I now have a lot of questions about history, full stop. And so he who prints the textbook is king. Agreed. And so if you are coming up with a concept like, well, this is an immutable trait, and I know because I read or I learned this at school, or this textbook, or I read this book, he who prints the textbook is king. And I'm kind of learning that right now in terms of Hollywood Babylon, the relationship that the deep state has had with publishing agencies for a reason. You know this, I know this. You can't even get your book published.
Right.
If you want to get your book published because they're controlling the press, that's kind of been a running theme. Certainly was the reason why the Russian Tsar, they were pamphleteers at that time, but like certainly was the reason that he got overthrown, was that they realized the power of the press.
Okay, so now they just babbling into a conspiracy. So hold on, I don't want to do the babbling. Hold on. 1 second. All right. Yes, they're just babbling. Hold on.
So I would never make a sweeping conclusion like that confidently. It could be that some groups are more evil. They're willing to do stuff that you wouldn't do. They're willing to take your entire culture, your ideas, and purport that it was theirs. And that's something that we're kind of tackling in my book club right now, because we're realizing that the elites very much believe.
Okay, so it's good. Right now they're just into. So now this is when they both agree. So they're back to their conservative talking points where they go into conspiracy theory about the Illuminati, the elites, and the Bilderbergers and the DuPont family. Okay, whatever. All right. Okay. So here we are. So now we're told by tethers and Pan-Africanists that we're just African, right? No country, no region. We're just the generic African. Right? That's what we're told. But